Let's be honest. Getting a home loan can be a little overwhelming and sort of confusing, especially if you don't know where to start. Today, we're here with Brad Taylor at Community Lending Group to get some important loan questions answered. So, Brad, I just want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for sitting down and having this conversation. It'll be fun.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping that we can all learn from your expertise. I know you've been in the lending business for a long time. So let's start with some questions. Brad, how long have you been in the loan business?
Well, I started doing loans in 2002.
Okay.
So it's been a long time. It's been a great career for me. I've seen tons of circumstances, so I've got a lot of experience, a lot of know-how. I can really help people get their loans done.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So you must know what you're doing.
Well, I hope so.
That's awesome. Thank you. Brad, let's talk about what are the different types of loans, because people have options, and we
Right.
kind of want to talk about the pros and cons of each type of loan.
Yeah.
So
there are, 3 or 4 basic different types of loans. Of course, you have your conventional and your FHA, which are kind of the most common. Both are really good, but depending on my client's circumstances, I'm going to show them the pros and the cons and help them make a decision that's going to be best for them. Some have a little more down payment, some have a little less. Some have mortgage insurance terms that are better than the other. And so it's really a process of getting to know my client's needs, getting to understand their financial situation. I help them go into a loan that's going to be the best fit for them.
And that's one of the things I've liked about working with you is people can call you and discuss their situation, and you really help figure out what's best for their situation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to talk to any home buyers out there, even if they just want to bounce some questions off me. I love to take questions and help people out any way I can.
That's awesome. Thank you. All right, next question. What is an interest rate? Let's just talk about that for a second.
Well, so, when you go to a bank and you want to borrow money, they're going to give it to you, but they're not going to give it to you for free. And so they're going to charge you an annual interest rate, and that's an important part of the loan process. Some people are eligible for the best rates that are available on the market, and some people are not. One thing that I do is, again, I'll understand my client's situation, understand their qualifications, and I'll get them the best interest rate that they are eligible for.
Okay. And interest rates change pretty much every day, right?
They do, multiple times a day sometimes.
So it's important to, and you watch that, monitor it for the clients?
Oh yeah, I get updates every time there's an interest rate change. I'm on top of that like crazy. It's a very important part of my job.
Okay. Now, can you explain the difference between an interest rate and what people call annual percentage rate, or APR?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's a lot of confusion about that. The best way to explain it is the interest rate is the rate that appears on your note when you close your mortgage. And the APR is sort of a conglomeration of that interest rate plus the closing costs that are associated with your mortgage. And so you can see your entire costs, interest rate plus closing costs, in one number, in one picture, and that's what the APR is.
So if somebody was maybe doing some loan shopping and comparing you against another lender, would the APR be a good way to compare lenders, or what
It
would
is.
you suggest?
Yeah, the APR is the simplest way to compare your overall costs from loan to loan or from lender to lender.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so Brad, let's talk about when people are getting a loan, there's obviously some costs involved. So what should a buyer be expecting as far as costs when we're referring to the loans?
My clients can expect to pay anywhere from 1.25% to 1.5% of the loan amount in additional closing costs. And so those fees are very low as far as industry standard is concerned, and I try very hard to make sure my costs stay down. But more expensive homes have higher costs, and so that's why I make it a percentage, but that's usually what my clients see.
Okay. And that's something you can help buyers understand probably in that, at least initial conversation. You can give them a rough idea?
Oh yeah, when the first time my client talks to me, if they have an idea of how much they need to borrow, I can tell them within $300 or $400 what their closing costs are going to be.
That's good to know so that you can...
Oh yeah, it's an important piece of the puzzle. You have to have that going in. Yeah, you can't be surprised with that at the end of the process.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Let's talk about locking an interest rate. What does it mean to lock an interest rate, and when would you do that?
Well, as we talked about before, interest rates change all the time, even multiple times every day. And so when you lock an interest rate, the lender is then promising that they'll honor that rate no matter what the rates on the market do. That's good for you if interest rates go up.
Right.
It can be bad for you if interest rates go down. So it is important to know what the market is doing, what the trajectory is of the market, and understand when you want to lock.
Okay.
The earliest you can lock in the loan process is as soon as you have a subject property address.
Okay.
As soon as there's an address, I can lock your loan. That might be a little too early in some cases. We can talk about that on an individual basis, but that's the soonest we can lock.
Let's talk about how you do your loans. And you mentioned this a little bit already, but do you do your loans in-house or are you considered a broker?
Yeah, so I am a broker and I have access to, really 35 or 40 different lenders.
That's a lot of lenders.
It is a lot of lenders. We have a lot of options available for our clients. Typically, I use about 8 or 9 or 10 on a regular basis, and so I'm expert in those 8 or 9 or 10 lenders. What that means is I package your loan and get it ready for underwriting, and I send it to one of these companies, and their underwriter underwrites it. The benefit to that is I can find the exact perfect loan for my client. I know I'm not leaving anything on the table. I know the interest rate's not too high. I know the closing costs aren't too high. I can fine tune everything and get them exactly the best loan that they qualify for.
Okay. So in summary, you'd probably say that you're a broker because it gives you the most options for your clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're client-based here, client-oriented. We want to be the most effective we can be for our clients' needs.
All right. That's good to know too. Let's talk about how long does it normally take to get a loan?
Okay, great question, and this is important especially when you're purchasing a home.
Make sure the contract's right. You got it.
Yeah, so we can close loans really as short as 2-week period.
Wow, that's pretty fast.
If we have to, and I've seen them faster than that sometimes. We'll get approvals in 1 day. We can clear conditions in a couple days. The longest that it's taken the last couple of years, maybe 3.5 to 4 weeks outside. But anywhere between 2 and 3 is kind of the average. 3 weeks.
3 weeks is pretty common. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's still pretty fast.
Very fast.
Means we can definitely do like a 30-day closing or
30-day closing is easy.
faster
Yeah.
than that. Okay. Let's talk about when somebody's looking at getting a loan. What kind of documents are they going to need to provide for you? And we're doing this so that we can prepare people beforehand.
Great question. So when you're applying for a mortgage, you have to understand what the underwriter is looking for is your ability to repay the loan.
Makes sense.
So they want to see W-2 forms and paycheck stubs.
Okay.
Essentially, that's it. If you're putting down money, they want to see bank statements. They need to know where the money's coming from. And if you're self-employed, they're going to want to see your tax returns. It's all about the ability to repay the loan. So they need to see income documentation. For 90% of my clients, that's all they need.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
A lot of helpful hints we're getting here from Brad. And when we're talking about the application process, how long would you say it takes to apply for a loan?
So I need about 10 minutes with my client on the phone to go through the application, ask them all the appropriate questions. Then I'll send them the loan application electronically for them to click to sign. Very simple. They can do that at their leisure. And I do need those documents returned back to me that I just mentioned. So the application process with me on the phone, 10 minutes. I send you the application. As soon as you get to it to click and sign, that part's done. And then as soon as you can get me the income documentations back, the application process is done.
10 minutes, that's not...
Yeah, most people get the whole thing done in 1 day or even a half an hour sometimes if they're ready to go.
Really fast.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty quick. Now, Brad, I want to ask you, what type of an experience can a home buyer expect when they work with you?
Great question. So at Community Lending Group, we're very focused on the community, the family. Okay, when we are helping somebody buy a home, we understand that their life is going to happen in that home. That's where their memories are going to be. That's when they're going to raise their kids. They're going to have family parties there, all that kind of stuff, and it gets us really excited. You know, that's why community is in our name. So the type of experience they can expect from me is very personal, very very hands-on, very detail-oriented, and very thorough. You're going to work with me from the beginning of the process all the way through closing. And so I'm going to be there every step of the way. Whatever questions you might have, whatever concerns might arise, I'm going to be the person that's going to address all of those issues, and I'm going to help you from the very beginning to the very end.
Sounds like you really care about your clients.
Absolutely, I do. Of course I do.
Well, I think we can all say Brad has been very helpful in helping us understand these loan questions a little bit better. Now, I also wanted to mention that we're going to put Brad's website in the links below, so make sure to check that out. You can also apply for a loan online through their website if that's easier for you. But Brad's great to talk to on the phone, so that might be a faster method for you. And I just want to say thanks for watching, and remember that if you need a mortgage and you live in Utah, make sure to call Brad Taylor with Community Lending Group so that he can help you make it happen.